I found the hotel receipt on a Thursday afternoon while looking for her car keys. The Orchid Suites, room 347, 4 hours, 2,000 baht. The same Thursday she told me she was visiting her sick aunt in the hospital. My name is Kenneth Harper. I'm 59 years old, from Vancouver originally, though I've been living in Phuket for almost 3 years now. I work remotely as a database consultant, which means I can live anywhere with decent internet. I chose Thailand because the weather's better than Canada and my pension goes further. That's what I told myself, anyway. The truth is I was lonely back home, divorced twice, kids grown and living their own lives. I wasn't looking for a relationship when I came here, but then I met Chenita. It was September 2023, I think, or maybe late August. Time works differently here, especially when you're retired and the days blend together. I remember it was just before the rainy season really kicked in. I'd been in Phuket for about 18 months at that point, mostly keeping to myself, working my contracts, swimming in the mornings. A friend from the Expat Facebook group invited me to a birthday party at a beach club in Patong. I almost didn't go. I'm not really a party person anymore, but I was feeling restless that night, so I went. Chanida was there with some friends. She was a waitress at the club, or at least that's what she told me. I found out later she actually worked at one of the bars on Bangla Road, but had the night off and was just hanging out with colleagues. She was beautiful. That sounds shallow, I know, but I'd be lying if I said that wasn't what caught my attention first. 26 years old, which, yes, I'm aware is 33 years younger than me. Long, dark hair, big eyes, smile that made me feel like I was the only person in the room when she looked at me. We talked for maybe an hour that first night. Her English was pretty good, better than my Thai certainly. She asked me what I did, where I was from, how long I'd been in Thailand, normal questions. I asked her the same things. She said she grew up in a small village in Isan, came to Phuket 5 years ago to make money to send home to her family. She had a daughter, she told me, 4 years old, living with Chenita's mother back in the village. She showed me photos on her phone. Cute kid. I didn't ask her for her number that night. I'm not that guy anymore, the one who chases women half his age at beach clubs. But she asked for mine. She texted me 2 days later. Just a simple, "Hello, how are you?" with a smiley face. We met for coffee that afternoon. I fell hard. I'm not proud of how fast it happened, but that's the truth. Within 2 weeks, we were seeing each other almost every day. She'd come to my condo after she finished work, usually around midnight or 1 in the morning. We'd talk, watch movies, make love. She'd stay until morning, then take a taxi home to her place in Kathu. On her days off, we'd go to the beach, or ride my motorbike up to the Big Buddha, or just stay in and cook together. She told me she wanted to quit working at the bar. Said she didn't like the late hours, didn't like drunk men hitting on her, didn't like the whole scene. She wanted to do something else. Maybe work in a hotel or a spa, something more respectable. But those jobs paid less, she said, and her family depended on her money. Her mother was sick. Her brother couldn't find steady work. Her daughter needed things for school. This is where my rescue complex kicked in. I see that now. At the time, I thought I was being a good man, a decent human being who cared about someone and wanted to help her. I told her I'd support her if she wanted to quit the bar. I'd give her money for her family so she didn't have to worry. Not a fortune, but enough. 15,000 baht a month, about 600 Canadian dollars. That was more than she made at the bar, she said. She quit. Or so I thought. She stopped working nights. Suddenly she was available in the evenings. We could have dinner like normal couples, go out for drinks. She moved in with me about 4 months into our relationship, in January 2024. It felt right. I was happy, happier than I'd been in years. I started thinking about the future. Maybe we'd get married. Maybe I'd meet her daughter, bring them both to live with me. Maybe I'd finally gotten it right this time. My left hand started shaking around March. Just a slight tremor, mostly when I was trying to type. I told myself it was too much coffee. Cut back to 2 cups a day. The shaking continued. I didn't connect it to stress because I wasn't aware I was stressed. Why would I be? Everything was perfect. The first thing that felt off was probably late February. She started taking her phone everywhere, and I mean everywhere. To the bathroom, to the kitchen when she made tea. She'd had the phone the whole time we'd been together, obviously, but before it would just sit on the table or the nightstand. Now, it was always in her hand or her pocket. When I noticed and commented on it, she said her mother had been calling a lot because she wasn't feeling well. Made sense. I didn't push it. Then there was the password. Her phone had never had a password before. I know because sometimes she'd ask me to check if she got a message while she was cooking or in the shower. I never snooped, just looked at the lock screen for her. But sometime in March, suddenly there was a 6-digit password. When I asked about it, she got defensive, said it was for privacy. Said one of her friends had their phone stolen and their line got hacked and someone sent messages to all their contacts asking for money. She didn't want that to happen to her. Again, reasonable explanation. I felt bad for even asking. What kind of controlling boyfriend demands access to his girlfriend's phone? I didn't want to be that guy. She started going out more. Before, she'd been home most days except when she went to the market or met friends for lunch. Now, twice a week, sometimes 3 times, she had things to do. Visit her friend Knock, who was having relationship problems. Help her cousin who just moved to Phuket find an apartment. Go to the temple to make merit. Each excuse by itself was perfectly reasonable. Together, over time, they started to form a pattern. But I talked myself out of my suspicions every single time. Because here's the thing about being a 59-year-old man dating a 26-year-old woman in Thailand. You're already aware of the cliché. You know what people think. You know the stories about bar girls who lie to their foreign boyfriends, who have Thai husbands or boyfriends on the side, who are just in it for the money. You know those stories because they're everywhere. Every expat forum, every YouTube channel, every conversation at every expat bar. And you tell yourself, but my situation is different. My girlfriend is different. We have a real connection. She's not like those other girls. I'm not like those other Farangs. We're special. That belief made me blind. Or maybe I made myself blind because the alternative was too painful to consider. The sex changed. We'd always had a good sex life. Frequent, passionate. She seemed to enjoy it as much as I did. But starting around April, she was less interested. Tired. Had a headache. Her period lasted longer than usual. When we did have sex, she seemed distracted, going through the motions. I asked her if everything was okay. She said she was just worried about her mother, stressed about money even though I was helping. I gave her more money, an extra 5,000 baht for her mother's medicine. She cried and thanked me, said I was so good to her, said she loved me. I wanted to believe her so badly. There was a Saturday in May that stands out. She said she was going to help Knock move apartments, would be gone most of the day. I offered to help, said I could borrow a truck. She said no, it was just small things. She and Knock could handle it. She left around 10 in the morning. I worked on a client project. She came back around 7 that evening, exhausted. Took a long shower. I ordered pizza for dinner. While we were eating, her phone buzzed with a line message. She grabbed it so fast, she knocked over her water glass. The water spilled across the table toward me. I jumped up to avoid it. In the chaos, I happened to see the name on her phone screen before she tilted it away. Mark. Who's Mark? I asked. She froze for just a second. Knock's brother. He helped us move the heavy boxes. British guy? I asked. Mark is not a Thai name. Half British, she said. His father is British. Mother is Thai. Another perfectly reasonable explanation, but the way she'd grabbed that phone, the panic in her eyes for just a moment, it stuck with me. I couldn't sleep that night. Lay there next to her staring at the ceiling while she slept peacefully beside me, or seemed to sleep. Around 3 in the morning I got up and went to the balcony. Sat there smoking a cigarette even though I'd quit 2 years ago. Smoked 3 of them from an old pack I'd kept in a drawer. My hands were shaking worse than usual. The thing about suspicion is that once it takes root, it grows. Every small thing becomes potential evidence. Every unexplained moment becomes a clue. You start keeping track, mental notes that build into a case file. June was when I really started paying attention. Not investigating, not yet, but noticing. She went to visit her friend Knock on Tuesday afternoons. Every Tuesday. Like clockwork. 2 to 6 p.m. Always the same window. She'd come home and tell me what they did. Coffee at a cafe, shopping at Central Festival, walking on the beach, normal friend activities. Except one Tuesday I had to go to Central Festival myself to get a new laptop charger because mine broke. This was around 3 in the afternoon. I didn't tell Chenita I was going because she'd already left to meet Knock. I figured I'd surprise her, maybe join them for coffee if I ran into them. Central Festival isn't that big. If they were shopping there, I'd probably see them. I didn't see them. I spent an hour there, looked in all the places she liked to shop. Nothing. Got my charger and went home. When she returned at 6, I asked casually where they'd gone. Central Festival, she said. Did some shopping. Did you buy anything? I asked. Just looked around, she said. Everything too expensive. I didn't confront her. What would I say? I didn't see you at Central Festival. Therefore you're lying? Maybe they'd already left. Maybe I missed them. Maybe they went to a different mall and she got confused. Maybe. But I knew. On some level I knew. I started checking things. Not her phone, I didn't have the password. But other things. The mileage on her motorbike. She said she was going to her friend's place in Kathu. The odometer showed 40 kilometers. Kathu is 7 kilometers away. Where else had she gone? When I asked, she said they'd gone for a ride to Kamala Beach. Another reasonable explanation. I checked our bank account. I'd added her to it so she could withdraw cash when she needed it for her family or for household expenses. There was a withdrawal of 5,000 baht at an ATM on Bangla Road on a Tuesday afternoon, while she was supposedly with Knock. Why did you take money out on Bangla Road? I asked her. She looked confused for a moment, then said, Oh, we walked through there on the way to the beach. I needed cash for the market later. Bangla Road is nowhere near the route from Kathu to any beach. But I let it go, because I was scared of what I'd find if I kept pulling at the threads. A friend of mine, another Canadian guy named Rob, who I'd met through the Expat group, called me in mid-June, asked if I wanted to grab a beer. We met at a bar in Rawai, away from the touristy areas. We talked about normal stuff for a while. Then he got quiet, had this look on his face. What? I asked. I saw Chenita the other night, he said. My stomach dropped. Where? On Bangla Road, walking out of one of the bars. Around 11 p.m. Which bar? I don't remember the name. One of the go-go bars near Soy Easy. You sure it was her? Pretty sure, yeah. She was with a Western guy. Older, maybe 60s. British accent, I heard him talking. I felt something crack inside me, but I kept my face neutral. Probably her friend's brother, the half-British guy I told you about, Mark. Rob looked at me for a long moment. Yeah, maybe, he said. But I could tell he didn't believe it. And he could tell I didn't either. She working again? Rob asked. No. She quit back in September. Okay, Rob said. My mistake then. We finished our beers in near silence. I went home. Chenita was there, watching Thai TV. I stood in the doorway watching her for a moment before she noticed me. She looked so innocent, so normal. I wanted to ask her where she'd been 2 nights ago, but I was terrified of the answer. You okay? She asked. Fine, I said. Long day. I couldn't eat dinner that night. Told her I had an upset stomach. Sat on the balcony for hours after she went to bed. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The next Tuesday, I followed her. I'm not proud of this. I know it's a violation of trust, but at that point, I didn't know what else to do. I needed to know. The not knowing was eating me alive. She left the condo at 1:30 p.m. I waited 5 minutes, then got on my motorbike and followed at a distance. She didn't go toward Kathu where Knox supposedly lived. She went toward Patong, toward Bangla Road. My heart was hammering in my chest. I followed her down the street, staying back far enough that she wouldn't notice me in her mirrors. She parked her bike near Soy Bangla. I parked a block away and walked, keeping to the other side of the street. She walked into one of the go-go bars, just walked right in like she belonged there, which, of course, she did. I stood across the street for 20 minutes. Couldn't make myself go in. Couldn't make myself leave. Just stood there like an idiot. A tout approached me, asked if I wanted to see the girls. I waved him off, walked back to my bike, went home. She came home at 6 p.m. as usual, smiling, kissed me on the cheek. "How was your day?" she asked. "Fine," I said. "How was yours?" "Good." Knock and I had coffee, talked about her boyfriend. He's being difficult. I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to grab her and shake her and demand the truth. But instead, I just nodded and said, "That's nice." That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling again. She was asleep next to me, or pretending to be. I thought about the last 14 months, all the moments I'd believed were real, all the times she'd said she loved me, all the plans we'd made. Were any of them real? Was I just a wallet to her? Just another stupid old farang who fell for a bar girl's act? But even then, even knowing what I knew, part of me wanted to believe there was an explanation. Maybe she'd just gone to visit her old coworkers. Maybe she needed extra money and was too proud to ask me. Maybe it was temporary, just until her mother's situation improved. Maybe we could fix this. That's what desperate love does to you. It makes you bargain with reality. I spent the next week gathering evidence. I know that sounds cold and calculating, but I needed to be sure before I confronted her. I needed proof I couldn't talk myself out of. I checked the mileage on her bike every day. Tuesday and Thursday showed the same pattern, 45 to 50 kilometers, Patong and back. I looked through her purse one day while she was in the shower. I know, but I was past caring about privacy at that point. I found receipts from restaurants I'd never been to, a small bottle of expensive perfume I'd never smelled on her, some cash in an envelope, about 8,000 baht, hidden in the inner pocket, and then, on a Thursday in late June, I found the hotel receipt. I wasn't even snooping that time. She'd asked me to get her car keys from her purse because we were about to go out. I was digging through the usual mess of makeup and tissues and receipts, and there it was. The Orchid Suites, room 347, 4 hours, 2,000 baht, dated for the previous Thursday. The same Thursday she'd told me she was visiting her sick aunt in the hospital in Phuket town. I just stood there holding it. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. My vision narrowed to just that small piece of paper. The Orchid Suites. 4 hours. Who the hell needs a hotel for 4 hours in the middle of the afternoon? Chenita came out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, saw me standing there with the receipt in my hand, saw my face. "What's that?" she asked. Even though she clearly knew, I held it up. "What's this?" She went pale. I can explain." "Explain?" My voice came out shaking, not angry yet, just broken. "Explain why you were in a hotel room for 4 hours on a day you told me you were visiting your aunt?" "Kenneth, please, who were you with?" And there was the anger, finally, hot and sharp and absolute. She started crying. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "Who?" I asked again. "His name is Mark," she said quietly. He's a customer. From before, from when I worked at the bar." The same Mark from the line message. The same Mark Rob had seen her with. The imaginary half-British brother of her friend Knock, who didn't exist because I now understood Knock probably didn't exist either. "How long?" I asked. "Kenneth, please, I can explain." "How long?" "Since February," she whispered. "February. 4 months. 4 months of lies. 4 months of her sleeping with him and then coming home and sleeping with me. 4 months of me giving her money while she was fucking someone else." "I thought you quit working," I said. My voice sounded strange, distant, like it was coming from someone else. She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. I tried. I really tried. But the money you gave me wasn't enough. My mother really is sick. My daughter really does need things for school. My family depends on me. So you went back to the bar? Yes. And Mark? He's a regular customer. He pays me to spend time with him. Do you sleep with him? She didn't answer. Didn't need to. Do you sleep with him? I asked again. Yes, she whispered. Something broke in me then. Not dramatically, not with a crash or a scream, just broke, like a glass held too tight finally giving way. I sat down on the couch because my legs wouldn't hold me anymore. Do you love him? I asked. No. Do you love me? She hesitated. Just for a moment, but that moment told me everything. I care about you, she said. You've been good to me. You're a good man. But Mark, he gives me money. A lot of money. More than you can give me. And I need the money, Kenneth. I need it for my family. You don't understand what it's like. You're a rich farang. You don't know what it's like to have people depending on you, to have responsibilities. I gave you 15,000 baht a month, I said. That wasn't enough? No, it's not enough. My mother needs medicine that costs 20,000 baht. My brother needs money to start a business. My daughter needs, so you lied to me. For 4 months. You lied to my face every single day. I'm sorry. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. She didn't deny it. I should have told her to leave right then. Should have thrown her out. But I didn't. Because even then, even with the evidence literally in my hand, part of me wanted to find a way to make it work. That's how pathetic I was. That's how desperate. Can we fix this? I asked. Can we work through this? She looked at me with something like pity. I don't think so, Kenneth. Why not? I can give you more money. I can help your family more. It's not just about the money, she said. Mark, he's going to rent an apartment for me. A nice one. He's going to help me open a business, a hair salon. He has more money than you. A lot more. And there it was, the truth. Stripped of any pretense of love or connection or shared future. She'd been comparing us the whole time. Calculating. Deciding. And I'd lost. Why didn't you just break up with me? I asked. Why string me along? Because you're a good man, she said. You're kind. You make me laugh. And the money you gave me helped. I didn't want to lose that. So you thought you'd just keep both of us. Yes, she said. Simple. Honest. Brutal. I laughed. Actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the alternative was crying and I didn't want to give her that. Get out, I said. Kenneth, get out. Take your things and get out now. She started gathering her things. Didn't take long. She hadn't really moved in much, I realized. Just some clothes and toiletries, like she'd always known this was temporary. Like she'd been keeping one foot out the door the whole time. She left around 8 p.m., didn't say goodbye, just walked out with her bag over her shoulder. I heard her motorbike start up, heard it drive away. I sat on that couch until 3 in the morning. Didn't move, didn't cry, didn't feel much of anything. Just sat there replaying every moment of our relationship, recontextualizing everything with my new knowledge. That laugh that had seemed so genuine, was it? Those times she'd said she loved me, did she mean it? The sex we'd had just 2 days before I found the receipt, had she been thinking about him? I called Rob the next day, told him everything. He didn't say, I told you so, which I appreciated. Just listened. At the end he said, welcome to Thailand, brother. It happens to a lot of guys. But it shouldn't have happened to me. I'm 59 years old. I've been around the block. I've been married twice, divorced twice. I should have known better. I should have seen the signs. I should have listened to that little voice in my head that kept whispering that something was wrong. But I didn't. Because I wanted to believe. Because I wanted to be the hero in my own story. The good man who saved the bar girl from her bad situation, and they lived happily ever after. Because my ego needed to believe that my love was special, that I was special, that our connection transcended the transactional nature of bar culture. I was wrong about all of it. It's been 7 months now. I'm still in Phuket. Different apartment, different part of town. I avoid Patong. I avoid Bangla Road. I see Chenita occasionally around town. Once at Tesco Lotus. Once at the beach. She's still with Mark, I think. Or maybe someone else by now. It doesn't matter. My hand still shakes sometimes. The doctor says it's essential tremor, brought on by stress. Might never go away completely. Every time I look at them trembling, I think about her. About how completely I was fooled. I've thought a lot about what I'd say if I ran into her and we actually talked. Part of me wants to tell her off, to make her feel bad about what she did, but she wouldn't feel bad. She'd tell me the same thing she told me that night. She needed the money. Her family depended on her. What was she supposed to do? And maybe she's right. Maybe I don't understand what it's like to have people depending on you when you're 26 years old with no education and no options except to sell your body or your company or both. Maybe the real tragedy isn't that she lied to me. Maybe it's that she was in a position where lying to me was the most rational choice available. But that doesn't mean I have to forgive her. And it doesn't mean what she did was okay. Here's what I learned. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. You can't love someone into being faithful. You can't rescue someone from their circumstances through sheer force of will and money. I also learned, when your girlfriend suddenly puts a password on her phone, she's hiding something. When she starts taking calls in another room, she's hiding something. When her stories don't quite add up, when the mileage on her bike doesn't match her supposed destinations, when she's suddenly too tired for sex, when friends tell you they saw her somewhere she said she wasn't, she's hiding something. I ignored all those signs because I didn't want to be the suspicious, controlling boyfriend. I didn't want to be that guy who couldn't trust his girlfriend. But maybe a little healthy suspicion would have saved me 4 months of being played. If you're reading this and you're in a similar situation, if your Thai girlfriend used to work in the bars and you're supporting her and she's suddenly acting different, don't make my mistake. Don't let your ego tell you that your situation is special, that your love is different. Don't ignore the red flags because you want so badly to believe in the fairy tale. Check her phone if you have to. Follow her if you have to. Hire a private investigator if you have to. Yeah, it's a violation of trust. But you know what else is a violation of trust? Lying to someone's face for months while sleeping with someone else. And if you find out she's cheating, don't do what I did. Don't try to bargain. Don't try to fix it. Don't ask if there's a way to make it work. Just leave. Cut your losses. Move on. Because someone who can lie to you that easily, that consistently, that convincingly, they're not going to suddenly become honest just because you caught them. I wasted 14 months on Chanida, gave her probably 50,000 baht total, fell in love with a fiction. I'm 59 years old. I don't have 14 months to waste. Neither do you. The hotel receipt is still in my wallet. I don't know why I kept it. Maybe as a reminder. Maybe as evidence for a trial that will never happen. Maybe because it's the only honest thing she ever gave me proof of exactly what I meant to her. 2,000 baht for 4 hours. That's the going rate, apparently. I was paying 15,000 baht a month for the privilege of being lied to. Not a great deal, in retrospect.